This is Julian speaking, welcoming you to another battle report out of the breach. Let's continue the journey through Tauber. The last time we saw the humans of the starter set against some cultists. This time we want to expand our troops, adding one more model to have a troop of 5 models each. And therefore we want to hunt for more Moonstones and grow 7. My humans from the starter set are joined by Gotchgard as a bodyguard for the Baron. For the Commonwealth, fight the Baron von Fancyhead, Eric the Squire, Flintlock, Friar Flavius, and Gotchgard. Bernd brings some cultists and fauns as his troop to fight for the Leshavult, with Reagan, a Leshavult priestess, Lubard, Hoff, Mr. Toodles, and Jada. Here you can see the depth of the Moonstones on the battlefield. The Commonwealth chose to be the early bird, and the Leshavult got the initiative and hand the first activation over to the Commonwealth. Turn 1. Friar Flavius jogs and steps 3 times to get closer to the Moonstones on the lower flank. Lubard jogs and steps twice. He gets in base contact with the Moonstone, and with his melee range of 3 inches he can protect the stone in front of him, denying Flavius the harvest next turn. Gotchgard jogs and steps twice. Reagan jogs and spends 2 energy to cast Verdant Growth. She can draw 5 arcane cards and declares a green 1. The Commonwealth calls OK, and a wooded patch appears within 4 inches of her. Good bluff from the priestess. And she spends her last energy to step once. Eric uses My Hero on Flintlock. He spends 2 energy to give Flintlock 1 energy. Jogs forward to harvest the Moonstone down to 1. Hov jogs and steps twice. Flintlock sees his opportunity and jogs to shoot at Hoff. He can draw 3 cards, but declares nothing, and the shot misses. But he can spend 2 energy to reload his musket, and uses the last energy to shoot again. Declares a green 3, and the Leshavult accept. 5 damage on Hoff. Mr. Toodles uses his Blighted Elixir on Jada, can draw 5 cards, and declares a green 2, to move Jada 2 inches directly away from him. The Commonwealth accept, and Jada is moved. Mr. Toodles jogs and spends his last 2 energy to cast a healing on Hoff, and declares a blue 1 to heal Hoff for 2. The Baron jogs and steps twice. Jada jogs next to the Moonstone and fires her bow at Eric. She declares a green 1, but puts down a red 2. The Commonwealth call okay, and Eric would suffer 2 piercing damage, but he wears a leather jerkin to reduce slicing or piercing damage by 1. 1 wound for Eric. And Jada harvests for 1. And that's the end of turn 1. Turn 2. The Leshavult win the initiative roll and hand the first activation to the Commonwealth again. Gotchgut jogs to be in base contact with the Moonstone and within 2 inches of Lubard. The blind giant spends 1 energy for a reaction step to be within 1 of Gotchgut. And Gotchgut attacks. He plays a thrust and Lubard a low guard. With his brute strength, Gotchgut deals 3 damage to Lubard and attacks again. Lubard spends his last energy to go for it to draw 2 more cards. Lubard plays a fallen swing and Gotchgut a high guard. He can do a follow-up attack and can play 2 rising attacks and upgrades into his signature move, Kick to the Gods. 4 damage against a fallen swing, and because of the critical hit, Lubard is moved 2 inches instead of 1 directly away from Gotchgut. Reagan spends 3 energy to cast her Malachite ritual on Lubard and declares a green 3. The Commonwealth accepts and Lubard gets 3 energy. Flintlock spends 2 energy to reload his musket and spends his last energy to shoot at Hoff. He declares a green 3, and the Leshavult call bluff. He was telling the truth, but doesn't want to put down another card. 5 damage on Hoff. And Flintlock jogs over to be in base contact with the Moonstone. Mr. Toodles spends 2 energy to cast a healing on Hoff and declares a blue 2, and Hoff heals for 3. He jogs to be in base contact with the Moonstone and ends his activation. Eric uses My Hero on the Baron, spends 1 energy to pick up the stone and jogs to hide behind the Baron. Jada harvests the stone down to 2, jogs a bit and shoots at Flintlock. Declares a green 1 and Flintlock suffers 2 damage. The Baron jogs over to the Moonstone and shoots at Hoff. He declares a green 2. 3 damage wouldn't kill Hoff, so he accepts and suffers 3. The Baron spends 2 to reload and uses his last energy to shoot his pistol again and declares a green 1 to kill Hoff, and Hoff accepts and is slain. Lubard spends 3 energy for Righteous Fury to gain 3 energy, plus 1 melee stat, plus 1 arcane stat, and plus 1 to melee damage. Spends 1 energy to attack Gotchgut. He plays a rising attack against Gotchgut's high guard and deals 5 damage, but Gotchgut's ramshackle armor reduces the damage by 1. 4 wounds for Gotchgut. Another energy, another attack. Lubard plays a fallen swing against a low guard from Gotchgut. He can critical hit the attack for 6 wounds on Gotchgut. And another attack. The chain keeps swinging. Lubard plays a rising attack and Gotchgut a low guard. A follow-up attack is not needed because Lubard is not within melee range of Gotchgut. and Lubard jogs a bit forward. Friar Flavius spends 2 energy to cast a healing on Gotchgut. He can draw 3 cards and doesn't declare a card. Jogs over to the Moonstone and harvests for 1. And that's the end of turn 2. Turn 3. The Leshavult win the initiative and Lubard jogs to get between Gotchgut and Friar. Spends 1 energy to attack Gotchgut. And Gotchgut sees the writing on the wall and spends 1 energy to go for it to draw 2 more. Lubard plays a Fallen Swing and Gotchgut a Rising Attack. The Fallen Swing would deal 3 against a Rising Attack, plus 2 for Lubard's Sensor Chain, minus 1 from the Ramshackle Armor. 4 wounds on Gotchgut are enough to slay the giant. But before Gotchgut's massive body hits the ground, he can deliver a well-timed kick in the guts to deal 3 damage to Lubard. And the blind giant is moved 1 inch and has to discard his last energy. Flintlock sees his chance to shoot Lubard. He reloads his musket, jogs over to the crates and shoots. He declares a green 2. The Leshavult call bluff, because the damage would be enough to kill Lubard. But Flintlock was telling the truth, and the giant is slain. He declares a green 1 against Jada, and the Leshavult call okay. 3 wounds on her. Reagan jogs quickly over and harvests the Moonstone. She spends 2 energy to cast Verdant Growth, declares a green 2, and the wooded patch appears between her and the Friar. Friar harvests 3 times and jogs over to the other Moonstone. Jada harvests for 1, jogs and stabs twice. In safety behind the well, she glares at the Moonstone behind Flintlock. Eric uses "My hero!" on the Baron, jogs and stabs once. Mr. Toodles harvests the Moonstone, jogs and stabs once. The Baron jogs and stabs twice to be in range to attack Reagan. The Baron plays 2 thrusts and Reagan a low guard, and can upgrade into her signature move, Mist Form, to reduce the damage by 2. She receives 1 wound, and the Baron attacks again. He plays a rising attack, and Reagan a low guard. No damage for the Fawn Priestess, who vanishes smiling in the mist, while the Baron just swings at the air. And that's the end of turn 3. Turn 4. We forgot the last reaction step from Jada and let her step at the beginning of the turn. The Leshavult win the initiative and Jada jogs over to hunt the Moonstone. Flintlock uses a reaction step to get closer. Jada steps in base contact with the Moonstone and Flintlock steps to engage her, and Jada attacks. She plays a Fallen Swing and Flintlock a Rising Attack. Jada can upgrade to her Mercy Kill, and with +1 from her dagger she can deal 4 wounds to Flintlock. And he also wields a dagger and can deal 2 wounds to Jada. Jada attacks again with a fallen swing, and Flintlock plays a high guard and can do a follow-up attack with a rising attack to deal 2 wounds on her, and Jada is slain. Flintlock activates and spends his last energy to pick up the Moonstone, and the Leshavult call it a day, and this hunt for Moonstones is over. The Commonwealth wins. Our first game on camera with 5 models hunting for 7 stones. What a great game! We both had a lot of fun and a good laugh at the table. It was still rather quick to play, but with a bit more stones to hunt and models to move, the complexity and the possibility for synergies rises. I think we will continue in this matter. At the time of writing this text, I am happily to prepare the table and cameras to welcome our Goblin player tomorrow for a game. So you will see Leshavult against Dominion Goblins very soon. We have also plans for a 3-player battle in the near future. And maybe we will start to record some scenarios. If you're interested to see the story scenarios here on the channel, let me know in the comments down below. You know what you can do to help the channel. Like, share, comment and subscribe, but most importantly, I want to thank you for watching. I will paint up some minis, edit some more footage, and hope to see you soon for another battle report out of the breach. The fallen swing would deal 3 against the rising attack, plus 2 for Lubert's the Sensation.